Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Agri-SA's annual Congress has kicked off in Pretoria and delegates are debating food security issues. Agriculture plays a vital role in job creation in South Africa and has brought in over 43 billion rand in export revenue over the past 3 years. President Cyril Ramaphosa was set to deliver the keynote address but will not be speaking anymore. Let's go to eNCA's Moloko Moloto, who is on the story. He joins us now live from the venue. Moloko, of course, one of the contentious issues is what's happening right now at Transnet. Did any of the officials there say anything about the strike?
Hello, Masiro. Yes, indeed. This is a two-day Congress of Agri-SA. It has brought together farmers or their organizations or unions from all across the country, as you said, to discuss food security, but also food certainty, as it was said by someone else in this meeting who said food certainty has to do with affordability of food. And as we know, oftentimes, if not always, it is the poor who are bearing the brunt of increasing food prices. Now, we were expecting President Cyril Ramaphosa to deliver a keynote address here. An apology was made that he was held up during some emergency commitments that he had to attend to. But Minister of Agriculture and Land Reform, Thoko Didiza, delivered that keynote address on behalf of the president, largely lauding the agricultural sector, the farmers and the farm workers for holding it up when the country was under hard lockdown at the height of COVID-19, but also saying that agriculture is the lifeblood of the economy, mentioning that it also creates more job opportunities. But the issue of transformation was also touched here. The Agri-SA itself also agrees that it cannot shy away from ensuring that it transfers the skills and bring up even more commercial farmers of color onto the mainstream agricultural sector. Of course, the issue of the ongoing Transnet strike was also an issue that was spoken about here, not only by the Minister, Thoko Didiza, but also the Chief Executive of Transnet, Portia Dabi, who unfortunately we have not been able to speak to. She's still participating in the discussions inside here. But when she took to the podium, Ms. Dabi indicated that actually labor costs account to about 66% of Eskom's, Transnet's revenue, saying that it definitely has to be controlled, but she's hopeful that the strike would be ending anytime soon. Now, back to Minister Thoko Didiza. When we had an opportunity to speak to her earlier, we asked, because you would recall, Masero, that she is part of the 3 ministers who are trying to mediate to end that strike by Transnet workers. As you would be aware that farmers who transport perishable commodities, they are now going to lose because they would not be able to transport their produces. Although Transnet is saying that the transportation of agricultural products via rail is a tiny contribution. Largely, it is at the ports where and it would seem that the farmers prefer to utilize roads, taking their products to the ports, where then Transnet tends to have that huge contribution. But let's listen to Minister Thoko Didiza as she was responding to their intervention as ministers to end that strike by Transnet workers.
We've got the highs and the lows. Some of us, some of you in this room, we did not sleep very well for the past week. Ever since the strike had started, we've been working with Transnet, and I've noted the CEO of Transnet, Portia, who is here, trying to look at how we could resolve some of that logjam so that indeed the ports and rail can become functional. We continue to engage. Yesterday morning we were engaging with labor. In the evening we also had another meeting with industry and the board of management of Transnet to take stock of what is happening, but also what we need to do going forward. We do so because we appreciate the role that agriculture plays in our economy, not only in terms of its contribution to the GDP, but also in terms of job creation, as the President had just said.
And of course, we're a country with many problems, Moloko, one of those being our energy crisis. And I believe that one of the executives of Eskom was there. Did they say anything about whether or not we're going to actually, not have load shedding anymore?
So, Masero, one of the complaints by the farmers is that when there's load shedding, then they will have to make, contingency plans, have them in place. And that means they would have to buy generators and they will have to buy diesel, which it's into their income or revenue. Now, they are saying that they obviously need certainty. And, of course, other issues such as farmer tax, crime generally, and the issue of land reform. But one of the people who took to the podium and addressed the delegates here was Jan Obelholzer, who is the Chief Operations Officer at Eskom. So he then told the delegates that he understands the frustrations with regard to rolling blackouts, but he's saying that we as South Africans should actually accept or expect load shedding to continue code for a year or a year and a half. So he even went further to elaborate on what they need to do as Eskom to bring about solutions, because he was also saying that they are going to have to retire some of the coal power stations. But what was notable also was that he is saying that the renewables are not going to be the panacea for our current problems in as far as energy supply is concerned. He says you need a hybrid model wherein you still have coal and then you have battery storages and also renewables. Let's listen to Mr. Obelholzer.
But in terms of load shedding, I believe it's here to stay for a period. Up until we have additional capacity that we can fulfill the demand of the country, while at the same time we can give that respect to the plant and maintain it properly, we're going to sit with challenging situation. Now, I'm very reluctant to give a time, because then people will hold me to it. But if you ask me, my gut feel, I would say another year, year and a half to get out of this. Now, I trust that we will not go through the same situation that we just had, stage 6, and load shedding for a whole month.
All right, that was Moloko Moloto live for us at the Agri-SA Congress.